Hi everybody, I'm Louise from AbSafe and I have the absolute delight today to introduce Adrian Watson, who is the Chief Executive of Business Inspired. And is that right?
Aberdeen inspired.
Thank you. You see, not all of us get it right all the time, Adrian.
No, that's all.
And so we're going to spend a little bit of time with you, if that's okay. So to confirm that and get your name right, which would be great, could you tell the people watching what your job is and what you do?
It's a really good question, Louise. As the Chief Executive for Aberdeen Inspired, we're the Business Improvement District in the city centre. And essentially, my job is to run a small team of very enthusiastic people who are trying to bring the public into the city centre to support our businesses in making the city centre that bit more attractive for us all to live, work, visit, and study in the wider city as well.
That sounds like a massive job, and it sounds like it's probably been a job that's been really difficult during this time. But I wondered if you could tell the people watching what you like about your job.
Yeah, there's plenty of things I like, Louise, but you're right to say it's been a bit of a challenge in the past year in particular. But the challenge was there before with the city centre, because people will have heard on the news and all sorts of things from other folk that, lots of people aren't coming into the city centre as they might have done before. They're shopping online and all that goes with that. So the challenge makes it interesting, and it is a challenge. And that in itself gives a great deal of job satisfaction when, over the past few years in particular, we've been able to put on large-scale events such as the New Art Street Art Festival. Mm-hmm. We do the Christmas Festival. We do the International Comedy Festival. So there's something for everyone. And the whole point of that is to bring people in huge numbers in the past, get them to dwell here, and with that, spend some money in our businesses, who are essentially our customers. So take a great deal of satisfaction that we've managed to achieve a fair bit in the past, but you're never complacent, as you will learn in life. You have to move forward, and there are still many challenges here, but it's been great working with people from the business community, from the public sector, the council, the police, and umpteen other organisations in there, and the third sector, which is the voluntary and the charities. And I like working with people. That's just what I'm about. That's my strength, if I have any. So it's been really fulfilling in that regard.
I think you've got lots of strengths, Adrian. Even take COVID aside, what is usually some of the challenges around your role?
It is that, trying to promote the city centre and getting people to come in. We know now that many people's shopping behaviours, for instance, have changed, that they are shopping online. And again, COVID has accelerated that whole move in the past year, when it was already a difficult trading environment. We all understand, Aberdeen being no different from any other self-respecting town or city centre across the country and indeed beyond, that there's a real challenge to the high street, and that we need to work in partnership across all the sectors that people have spoken about previously, mm-hmm. to build a city centre that everybody out there is very proud of and wants to visit on a regular basis. Because one advantage I have with the city centre is it's the heart of the community, not only for the city, but for the wider northeast of Scotland. And that's important. Everybody understands we need a sense of community, particularly at these times, when we're often feeling isolated and that bit anxious. There'll be a day not too far off, one hopes, where folk will want to come back into the heart of the community. And that's where we'll be ready to receive you all, and no doubt.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I do miss little trips into the city, actually. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. How did you get to where you are today? Like, how did you get to the role that you're currently doing?
An interesting question, Louise. I've been here now 5 years, and
you don't look old. You don't look old enough, Adrian.
Oh, Louise.
Surely.
Well said, Louise. I'll write that down. I'll use that one. I've been here 5 years now, and it was one of those opportunities that presented itself. Before that, I was in a very different place. I was in the police Scotland as it is, and I spent 30 years there, a full career, if you will. But I came out at the tender age of 48, which is far too young to retire. And I saw this opportunity present itself. And for the reasons given, the opportunity to work with lots of people, a real challenging position, I couldn't say no, and the rest is history.
Well, I'm really glad that you took the position, because it's definitely much needed, and I think Aberdeen are very grateful for that. What advice would you give anybody watching this, just in sense of, kind of future, how to get into business? Because obviously, I suppose what you're trying to encourage is more businesses to come into the city centre, more local businesses, and hopefully this little this little conversation will help people think, well, do you know what, we can buy locally and try and support local businesses rather than, the big organisation like the Amazons and such like. So, what advice would you give maybe a young person watching this video?
And you're right to mention that, it's not almost a versus Amazon, because there will be a place for them and it will be very much a blended approach, but it's all about the experience in the city centre. And I think no matter what your makeup is as an individual, we all need to mix with folk at some stage. And the advice I would give is, and I see it in the past year in particular, those that have shown innovation and a bit of resilience, within the business community in the city centre, and I'm pointing outside the window there, have managed to survive and work through this. So it's to be committed. It's to show that innovation and creativity in whatever path you choose, whether that is retail, whether that is commerce in some other shape or form, whether you decide to go into the public sector or the third sector. There are so many opportunities, and there still are, and there'll be many more in the future. Do not be put off. Work hard, stay focused. We will come through this. Experience tells us that. Do what you possibly can in school. Don't fret. And then look for the opportunities. And what I've found with my team around about me is passion is always well. Yeah. Where you really have a liking for your career, your job, and you want to make a difference. Those are the people that shine out, Louise. And there are plenty of them. And there'll be plenty of folk out there just now watching your wonderful excerpts, Louise, who will no doubt grab those opportunities that I speak about in the future.
Yeah, and we've spoken a lot on the previous chats that I've had with other people, is that it's not perfect, and that's okay. Is that we can try stuff and it doesn't work. Like my introduction to you was pretty dismal, actually, but it's okay, because I don't get everything right all the time, and that's fine. And it's about saying, look, I didn't get that right, but I'm going to learn from that. And I think it's important that young people realise that we don't get to a place without making mistakes. It's not a failure, it's just something we can learn from. And if you look at mistakes as a learning opportunity, then actually that stands you in good stead for the rest of your career, because nothing is forever. And so if we can keep on learning and moving forward, I think that would help.
The words of wisdom, Louise, they often say you learn more from your mistakes and you take the positives from that. And it would be a liar that said that they've never made a mistake.
I've made about 5,000 this morning.
And in my past life, Louise, in policing, if I may, and in the current life, I was very much about building a culture, an organisation, that if you did make one of those numerous mistakes, because we're all human beings, we're all full of feelings and all the rest, but you've made it, with the best intentions. You pick yourself up, you brush yourself down, and you get on with it. And I would rather that people took the opportunities, showed a bit of risk, positivity, and making decisions, and pushed themselves a little. And if they do fall over occasionally, that's my job, I suppose, as chief exec. That's where Louise sits, to pick the team up and get them remotivated and back firing on all cylinders. So I couldn't agree more, Louise. Yeah. It's all about that. It's the only way that learning organisations will move forward. Do not be afraid to make a genuine mistake.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The sad bit would be if you didn't take that chance, that risk at times, or pushed yourself to realise the full potential that all you folk out there have, all your strengths and skills are there. You might not see them, you might not feel it, but everybody has something to offer. And it's just trying to push as much as you possibly can forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. So my last question is, if I could give you a magic wand, bear with me, what would you change? And it can be anything.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Louise. I would like to see an end of where we are currently, like everybody else, but I think there's a way out there now. I lost my imagination many years ago. So the magic wand, Louise, you hold on to it. What I would say is, let's take the magic wand back into play. Let's get positive. Let's just sprinkle some positivity across all the folk that are watching this, all the people that are participating here, wider northeast of Scotland, in fact, all the population, that we stay that glass half full. Not always easy. Let's look to work together, constructively, meaningfully, and delivering, because that's what it's all about. You know, when you do eventually leave school and go out there into work, that you're working with people, you're trying to do the right thing by them, by the company, whoever you end up working for. And it just adds, you know, that bit of positivity to the bigger piece. So yeah, it would be that.
I think that's a great answer. So thank you for putting the one back into play. And on behalf of AbSafe, Adrian, can I say thank you so much for your time? I know that you're really busy, and I know that it's a very difficult time. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for doing what you do for Aberdeen, actually, and North of Scotland. And I think it's really important that we remember that the town centre is really important for us as a community, as well as individuals. So thank you again for your time. And I hope when this is over, I can come and you can maybe come and show me some gems that I don't know about the city centre.
Indeed, Louise, you'd be very welcome, and keep up that great work at AbSafe.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.